Good evening. Welcome to the latest live edition of Last 12 Boxing. Obviously, we're joined with the Elite Four this week. You know, no shambles of anybody else this week. So, good evening, Orkan.
Good evening, Carl.
Pronunciation okay? Happy with that?
Lovely.
Lovely, thank you. Good evening, Sean, all the way from Australia.
Good morning, boys.
Good morning. And then last but not least, Harrison, who I believe is in the Northwest, ready for the Grand National.
Yeah, lovely to be back up in this part of the world too. Looking forward to the racing this weekend, but the boxing likewise. It's good to be on, Carl.
No problem. So I'm going to jump straight into the first topic, guys. And I've mentioned this a few times, but Jared Anderson fights this weekend. I think the matchmaking's really poor. I'll give my little bit first because people jump down my throat telling me that he's a youngster, blah, blah, blah. The closest comparison I can find to someone in a similar career was Daniel Dubois. At the 16th fight, Daniel Dubois was actually jumping in with people like, well, he jumped in with Kevin Johnson, fight 9. Jared Miller, Joe Joyce was his 16th fight. So that's... Talk to me. I'll come to you first, Harrison. America are looking for the next big thing, right? You know, is Jared Anderson a hype job, or do you think he's actually got potential?
Bit of both. I think the problem is it's still way too early to tell. Now, the heavyweight scene in America at the minute is in a bit of a funny situation where obviously Deontay Wilder looks like he's coming to the end of his career. And, you know, the other big names that are around there, like Jarrell Miller, Michael Hunter, none of them have really, you know, reached the heights that the United States wants and expect of them. There is such a pressure on American heavyweights to really outperform and excel and be at that top level. And that is why the pressure's been put on Jared Anderson, because they feel, and Top Rank feel like they haven't had a heavyweight as good as him for a long time. You're obviously big on calling him a hype job. I'd be a little bit, I'd hold back opinion on that just yet. But we do need to start seeing him go through the gears, and pretty soon, because he's already 24. He's got time, but at the same time, he's been around now for 5 or 6 years. And other than a points win against Charles Martin, there's nothing on that resume that makes you think that he has potential to go right to the top and be a heavyweight world champion. He's got a lot of pressure, but with that comes this massive ESPN backing as well, where he's been put into these big shows and he's got an opportunity to make a name for himself, but he has to start putting statement victories together against good names. And
I'll tell you I'll give a bit of context to my opinion of him being a hype job. I just think boxing landscape has changed. I think the boxing public on both sides of the Atlantic now expect him to be jumping in with better opponents sooner. I think the days are gone where fight fans allow somebody to have such a slow build to actually jump in with a live opponent. And that could well be Saudi Arabia that is doing that, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
But I think people are very quick now to get bored of this narrative of he's the next big thing. Well, let's see him jump in with someone of note then.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, that's where you're right. And after this fight on Saturday or Sunday, you need to see him go over to Saudi Arabia, get himself on one of these big bills and fight an Adji Kabayel, a Daniel Dubois, a Zhang Jie, someone like that who is at a level above him to find out whether he's good or not. He can't stay at this level for much longer. I think this is his last fight where he's allowed to dominate proceedings. After this, he has to go and step up and fight a good, solid heavyweight. And I think he will. But, yeah, I can see your frustration with him. He has been at this level for a bit too long, I think.
Yeah. Orkan, what are your thoughts on Jared Anderson?
I agree very much with Harrison, and but Riyad Mehri, his opponent for this show this weekend, is pretty much he had most of his career in this cruiserweight, and has just fought a couple of fights now in the heavyweight division, but. He was good against Joka, but Joka has gone way downhill. But that was his last fight in France, and beat Joka in France. So that was a good win for Mehri as a fairly new heavyweight. But for Jared Anderson, is not. They must step up after this is his 17th fight, they must step up in opposition when he has fought pretty much in his career. I think for me, I think that they should have right now a top 15 name to face him.
Yeah. Sean, what are your thoughts on Jared Anderson, fella?
Yeah, I agree with what's been said, to be honest. So I think it's fairly obvious what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep him unbeaten until a vacant belt becomes available. Because let's face it, we all know the Americans need and love the heavyweight division. So I think they're trying to give him a padded record, give him a vacant belt, and then they'll sell him as this monster pay-per-view star, in my opinion.
So quick round robin then. If you was matchmaking Jared Anderson, who would you throw him in with next? Harrison?
I mentioned a couple of names there. If you're going to stick him up, I think Ajit Kabayel, I think, is a really good fight. Obviously, that one that he had against Arslanbek Makhmudov last time out really, elevated his status and, pushed him above that European level. I think that's probably the best fight to make. If you can't make that, a couple coming off losses, Joe Joyce, Otto Wall, someone like that, he just has to prove himself. He doesn't have to go and beat Deontay Wilder in his next fight, but he has to start taking the stepping blocks to get to that stage.
I'd throw him in with Michael Hunter on an All-American bit of a battle.
That's a good fight.
Just to raise his profile. Orkan, who would you throw him in with next?
The name you said there, Michael Hunter. He's fighting in Uzbekistan on Sunday on a card there against a Russian opponent who's undefeated but not very well known. And even I'm very on the same card. Bakhtar Jalalov fights there. That's a good name also.
Yep. Sean?
I think someone like a Pulev, someone like that, where they've been at world level, but they're not anymore, just to see where he's at, really.
Yep. Okay, moving on. Now, Orkan, I appreciate you're in Sweden, fella, and I know, Sean, you're in Australia, but you do know about Channel 5. So, try your best with this one, Orkan. So, Charlie Edwards is fighting on Friday night, Channel 5 in the UK, terrestrial TV. Simple question, really. I'm going to come to Sean first. Will Channel 5 enhance Charlie Edwards' profile and career, Sean?
Yeah, I think it will, actually, just given with the viewing figures and what we've seen. I think Harlan Eubank got over 1 million viewers, didn't he, in his last fight? So, yeah, in terms of audience, I'll definitely get that. And I think it's something he needs because I think he's in the shadow of Sonny Edwards, really, if we're being honest. So I think this could be the breakout and the push his career needs, really.
Yeah. Orkan, obviously Channel 5, terrestrial TV, free to air in the UK, so massive audience normally. Friday night, prime spot. Do you think this will help Charlie Edwards' career?
Yeah, I think it's good. And I believe it will be streamed on DAZN internationally as the Wasserman shows usually is. But it is just been announced a couple of days before. So maybe tomorrow they announce the international on DAZN. So I think it's a good step for him. And I think it was 3 years ago. I was at Charlie Edwards fight when he fought for the flyweight world title at the Copperbox Arena in London. And after that, his career has gone downhill pretty much.
Yeah. And Harrison, just let me put a bit more around the question to you, fella.
Yeah.
He's obviously a talent, Charlie Edwards. He is 31. He's had his problems outside the ring. Is this his last chance saloon regarding building a profile again and having one last shot at getting that world title?
I think at world level, definitely. Yeah. Just to reiterate, about the whole Channel 5 situation, it can't do anything but help him because you know that there's going to be a massive audience there for him. So it's a really good move for him. You think since that Julio Cesar Martinez fight 5 years ago, I think he's only fought 3 or 4 times. It's all been quite lowbrow, and he's been winning and ticking along. But, you know, he at one stage was quite significantly bigger than Sonny, and now it feels like it's gone completely the other way around, where Sonny's one of the biggest names in world boxing now at this stage. He's had his great fights, of course, with Bam last time out. So Charlie has a lot of profile issues. His boxing talent is sensational. We know how good he is. You know, simple bantamweight international title that he's fighting for on Friday, that's not relevant.
Good talker as well, Harrison, isn't he? He's a very good talker. So I'm wondering why he's dropped off this cliff edge.
Yeah, it is interesting. He called his brother out last year at one stage as well. He clearly knows. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's, you know, he's got good brains there, and he's got good boxing ability. So it's strange that it's taken this long, but I think the move to 5 on Friday night and with the Sauerland promotion behind him, I think it's really good for him.
So obviously we'll touch on Lerone Richards because he was due to be on this bill. I'll come to Harrison first. Lerone Richards must be the most frustrated guy in British boxing at the minute because he just can't get a break, right? He's in a super middleweight division which isn't red hot at the minute. I quite like Lerone Richards. I think he's quite skillful, but he hasn't got enough pop. But he should really be up the top end of the echelons of super middleweight in this division, in this country, right?
He should definitely be focused, I think, at super middleweight because, like you said there, and we said last week, it's not a good division at the minute domestically. It's one of our lighter divisions. Oh, you've got to feel really bad for him. I mean, things just haven't been working out the last year. You know, injuries, pullouts, you name it, he's had it. And this would have been a really good opportunity for him. He would have been on the issues. Yeah, of course. And you'd thought he got his break now with Sauerland, but, you know, that seems to just be pushing back and back. He's had, you know, he's not been seen now since November, but he needs a really massive year, and I feel for him because if he stays around 168, he's a real good contender in that division domestically. So, you know, I wish him nothing but the best. But honestly, you know, it'd be great to see him have a bit of success this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'll come to you, Sean. Obviously, the Carlos Gongora fight was seen as his breakout fight. We expected big things after that. Just give us your thoughts on Lerone Richards and where he belongs.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's definitely a talent and one of the best 168s in Britain. It's just so frustrating for him off with what happened with Matchroom and the fallout there. Then I believe he split from Sam Jones as well, didn't he? So, yeah, he just needs a run of momentum and some steam behind him because I think activity's been his biggest killer. And I think an active Lerone Richards, we'll see what he's really made of.
Orkan, what are your thoughts on Lerone Richards?
I think he has had in very bad luck in the last fight that has been signed and like this fight just a couple of days before the fight the opponent is injured. So, but correct me, but I don't remember why he left Matchroom. He had a great fights with Matchroom.
I don't think it was ever announced why. I think it's just end of his deal, wasn't it? I don't think there's ever a particular reason announced from memory. From memory, that is.
Yeah, so if he fought on the 3-4 last fights at Matchroom was very good for his career. So, but after that, it hasn't been so much in the last 2-3 years for his career.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on, guys. So, obviously, the Matchroom card this weekend, Jordan Gill versus Alpha Bow, which I think is a great fight. But before we go on to the main event, I've just plucked a few fights out on the undercard. We won't go through all of them. The first one is Michael Gomez Jr. versus Cain Baker. I'll come to you first, Sean, on this one. I didn't like Michael Gomez Jr.'s attitude against Levi Giles back when he was pushing and shoving, and you know, but I think he's on his last go as well. He's 29 now, so he needs to make A-Rock while the sun shines, really. But he's starting to get a bit of exposure on the zone. So give me your thoughts on Gomez Jr. for the English super feather, by the way.
Yeah, I think Gomez Jr. will win. I mean, let's be honest, Matchroom love putting Kane Baker in the away corner, don't they? So I think Gomez Jr. will win. I think it's an intriguing fight because, you know, Kane Baker, this is probably his last roll of the dice at this level at least. So he'll be giving his all, but I just think Gomez Jr. will come through in a tight points victory.
Yeah, Baker's 33, mate, so it's definitely his last roll of the darts, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
obviously, I'll come to you on this one. Obviously, Gomez Jr. quite building a profile. Give us your thoughts.
You alluded to it there perfectly. It's exactly what he's doing. He's been very loudmouthed in the last couple of years. You know, he's not afraid to, you know, get a bit of needle stuck. And against Kane Baker, he'll probably give a little bit back as well. He's been a bit of a journeyman for British boxing, but, you know, he's a nice test of where a fighter is. I don't think he's looked overly good, but then he should be more than capable of winning an English title here at his own pace over 10 rounds. I would like to see a little bit more of him. I just think he's a little bit slow on his feet, especially for a super featherweight. I would want to see him just have a bit more about him, but he's only going through the levels at the same stage any other prospect would be. He should win this pretty comfortably, to be fair. I think Kane Baker's well past his best now.
Or Ken?
I think Michael Gomez Jr. win pretty comfortable, but a points decision for me.
Okay. Next fight, Rhiannon Dixon versus Karen Caballal. I personally think it's a step up for Dixon. I think it's a step up, although she's southpaw, trickier. I'll come to you first, Orkan. Give us your breakdown on this fight. Quite an intriguing one.
Yeah. Caballal fought Katie Taylor a couple of years ago in a world title fight. But after that, she has been fought in Argentina in national titles against opponents who's not on a near world level. So, so I think this could be a good fight for Rhiannon Dixon. And I was at Rhiannon Dixon's last fight when she fought Katarina Tanders for the European title at Wembley Arena September last year. And I was impressed with Rhiannon Dixon. For me, she won every round of, against the former European titleist. So I will go for a points decision for Rhiannon Dixon. And I know that Matchroom are behind the scenes wants to have an all British title with Rhiannon Dixon versus Terry Harper. Eddie Hearn has even talked about it. So that's what the Matchroom are. So Terry Harper is going to go down in weight to lightweight.
Interesting. Harrison, over to you.
Yeah, really good point there from Harkan about how Karen Carvajal, since that Katie Taylor fight's been fighting people way below this level out in South America. So there's nothing we can take in terms of form lines from that. For Rhiannon Dixon, though, I thought she was ice cool when she won that European title last time out. She has gone up these steps and levels really nicely in the last year or two. And there's a little bit of power behind her as well, I think, that we're still yet to see the best of her. I think she'll win pretty easily here, to be honest. Could be wide points, maybe a late stoppage. She's been really, progressive. Local ass as well. She's from Warrington, so she'll have plenty of bums on seats in Manchester on Saturday. So I'd be well behind her, and I think she's going to look super impressive here.
She's going to need to, isn't she?
Oh, yeah.
Sean?
Yeah, I agree with what the lads have said, really. Especially when Dixon's gone for the level, she's almost raised her game even more. And the partnership with Anthony Crowder, I think, is really good as a trainer. So, yeah, I think Rhiannon Dixon will win fairly wide on points.
Okay. Now, I'm going to have an Andy moment here. I'm going to move on to the Ellie Scotney fight. And obviously, her opponent, there's no way I'm going to pronounce that surname. So I'm going to cut. Do you want to have a go at Harrison?
Would it be Lefebvre if it was French?
Lefebvre? We'll go with that. So,
Yeah.
seeing as you've such good pronunciation, Harrison, I'll let you take this one away first because I think this may be fight of the night for the IBF WBO Super Bantam. Take it away.
Yeah, I won't pretend to know that I know too much about Segonda Lefebvre, but I know she's had that world title for some time now. I can tell you quite a bit about Ellie Scottney, though, and how impressive I've been with her nearly every single time she's fought, to be honest. I think of the crop of female fighters that we have in this country, and I know she doesn't have much to compete with at super bantamweight, she's right up there for me as one of the pound-for-pound best we have. Always looks really consistent in her fights. She's won most of them by quite wide margins as well. I've been really impressed with her boxing style. She's really flat on her feet. So I think, I don't know the dangers that this French opponent has, but based on Ellie Scottney, I would expect her to put a good performance in here. Could be a really easy unification. It's probably really smart matchmaking from Matchroom as well. They know what they're doing. So I'd expect Ellie Scottney to come through this with flying colours.
Yeah, looking at her resume, there's nobody of note on there, Harrison, if I'm being brutally honest.
There you go.
But you never know, right? You never know. Orkan, coming to you next, fella. Give us your breakdown.
I love this fight very much. I know Ségolène Lefebvre a bit from France, and she's undefeated, and Ellie Scottney undefeated, two undefeated fighters in a unified world title. So for me, this is the fight of the card. I'm very excited for this fight and for Ellie Scottney. Ellie Scottney was at that card in London that I was in September last year, and she for me she impressed very much. I think what I know is Ségolène is that I think Ellie Scottney will win, but I think it will be competitive. So Ellie Scottney on points.
Interesting. Sean?
Yeah, I think Ellie Scottney will win on points. I mean, let's be honest, the McGuigans tend to be very selective who they put their fighters in. So I think, yeah, she'll win quite wide on points. I've been impressed with her a lot, like the lads have said. And I think she's probably the best in her division, if we're being honest.
Okay, and then coming to top of the shot, which promises to be a great fight. Jordan Gill versus Zelfa Barrett. Not often I can't pick a winner, but I'm looking at this one. Zelfa Barrett intrigues me because you can go and get beat to Rakhimov, which is no disgrace in that. But earlier in his career, he got beat to Ronnie Clark. I'm sure we all know who Ronnie Clark is. So, is there inconsistencies there? I don't know. Then you look at Jordan Gill, is he getting better and better? Beat Conlon last time out. It would suggest so. This promises to be a great fight. I'm going to go Jordan Gill to stop Zelfa Barrett late. Round 10 is my prediction. I'm going to come to Sean first. Sean, talk to us about this fight.
Yeah, right, I agree. It's a complete pick-em in my opinion. I mean, I personally thought Conlon was going to beat Jordan Gill last time, so that was quite a big upset for me. Like you say about Zelfa Barrett, he blows hot and cold too much, doesn't he? So you never really know what Zelfa is going to turn up. And as you said about Jordan Gill, is he improving? It's just an intriguing fight and one of the fights of the year on paper for me so far this year anyway. But I just think Zelfa Barrett, he's boxed at the higher level. I think he may have a bit too much for Gill, and I think Barrett wins on points.
Orkan?
First, when Jordan Gill won in Belfast at Michael Conlon's backyard, I didn't believe it beforehand, and so that was one of the most surprising and impressed performance I saw last year. So for me, Jordan Gill late stoppage round 9, and back shortly to Belfast, I wanted Michael Conlan to win, to have big Belfast fights. I haven't been in Belfast, but I want to go to Belfast. But now Lewis Crocker, I think, could be the big star in Belfast to sell out the big arena in Belfast.
Harrison.
Yeah, I'd just like to say too. I grew up near Belfast, and I used to go to the fight nights there all the time. I was lucky enough that I grew up at the same year that Carl Frampton was boxing, so you need to get yourself to Belfast for a night or two of boxing. It's just an incredible.
Yeah, I've never done Belfast either, to be honest.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Get that on your bucket lists. Jordan Gill's Alpha Barrett, what a brilliant fight. I'm really, really excited for this one on Saturday. Had Michael Conlan just done what he was expected to do and put Jordan Gill away, then this would be a completely different conversation. But that move up, since he lost to Kiko Martinez and he moved up to 130 pounds, he looks like a different fighter. It almost feels like two split resumes here, and he's gone on to start this second career where he's one of the big top dogs at 130 pounds, a division where it is pretty easy to win a world title at the minute, in my opinion. Alpha Barrett, obviously, the key that these two have is they both fought Kiko Martinez. He made him look like a 40-year-old man that he is, but obviously Jordan Gill got knocked out. On that, then, of course, like you said, that loss to Rakhimov, that's fine because he's a massive player at 130 pounds. A couple of good points wins since then. Not a fantastic 2023 for him, so maybe a bit of inactivity issues or just the level of opponents might come into this a bit late, and that's probably why I would just side with Jordan Gill stopping him late, because I do think that in terms of stamina, there's probably been a few issues in the past where Alpha Barrett, when he gets down the straight, he's not got a lot left in the tank. So I think Jordan Gill just slightly better. I'm impressed with his power at 130 pounds. I think he stops him in the 10th.
Very interesting. Me and you are similar to Harrison. So, moving on to other boxing news, a couple of things dropping in quite late tonight. I thought the Bruce Ennis announcement that he's joining Matchroom for a multi-fight deal is very interesting. I personally think that Eddie Hearn's going to cash out on Conor Benn because of the UK situation. But I'll come to you first of all, Cam. What are your thoughts on Matchroom signing Ennis? Boots Ennis, quite a big statement in America, that. Quite a big statement.
Yes, this is a massive signing for them. I think they could have huge fights in the US now. They have Bam Rodriguez and Devin Haney, big names. So Ennis will be great for Matchroom US. So I think their Matchroom's US has stepped up in levels in the last year very much. So I'm looking forward, and I've heard of a rumored date of July 6 for Ben's next fight, but I thought it was talked about much less name and at one of the smaller hotels there. So we have to wait to see if it will be Ben Ennis in Las Vegas.
Harrison, the irony is that he could well not fight in America for a while. It could all be Saudi Arabia based, right?
Jaron Ennis or Conor Benn?
Ennis,
yeah, could be. Which is very interesting as to why Matchroom would sign him, because when Matchroom made this launch into the US market about 7 or 8 years ago, they did have some, I'll say good names, not great. They had Demetrius Andre, they had Daniel Jacobs. The stable was good. They've only gone and signed one of the biggest names in America and in the sport. And you could count on one hand how many times Matchroom have signed a fighter that's dropped from PBC. So that's a huge, huge statement. On the Saudi Arabia thing, absolutely, because he's the type of fighter you can put on co-mains under the Baturbiev Bivol type cards, because he's a
5
could be 5v5, yeah. I doubt Frank will be too happy about that.
No.
Well, to wait, he'll have to send over. But, yeah, really good. I like this signing from Matchroom. You know, there's two ways you can go with it. You can go Saudi or you can go America. I'm in agreement with you. I don't think it'll be the July date, the Conor Ben. I think he'll just fight anybody. But I do see those two fighting eventually down the line. That seems to be what makes the most sense, really, because that is a monster fight.
A very one-sided fight, in my opinion, but that's for another day. Sean, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, it's an absolute huge signing for Matchroom. You know, all the big American promoters was after him. I heard he turned down more money from Top Rank to go to Matchroom. So I guess that shows the pull Eddie's got over there now. And I think they'll keep him as a US fighter, really, because they haven't really got too many main headline US fighters, I don't think. So I think that they need him for that in the States. And I think the Conor Ben fight will happen. It's just a mystery, really, what to do with him when he loses, because he's got nowhere to go. Because I think the Eubank fight sailed now. I can't see that happening. So yeah, for Conor Ben, it's probably going to be a big payday, and then I just don't know what to do with him after that, to be honest.
I think it's a signal of intent from Matchroom USA this signing. Say we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. Yes. A lot of the emphasis has been on Saudi Arabia. Let's have it right. But why wouldn't it be? Because of the money it's being offered. But I thought it was a signal of intent from Matchroom USA, because a lot of people are saying they've gone to America and done nothing, which you could argue is the case. I think they've been a little bit underwhelming, haven't they, in the US of A? But very interesting. And then last topic of the night, I'm going to keep it a bit short tonight. I want to touch on Tyson Fury versus Usyk. I know it's a way off yet. But Harrison, Sean, Orkan, I don't think we broached this subject before, so there's nothing wrong with having a bit of a conversation now regarding it. So obviously, press conference today in Morecambe. I can honestly say Tyson Fury is looking in absolutely fantastic condition. So people who are writing him off because of the Ngannou fight, I actually think Usyk's in a bit of trouble here. I think Tyson was talking about working the body. If he works the body, Usyk's in. I mean, I just don't know how Usyk beats him, So, or can I come to you first? Give us your thoughts and predictions on this fight. I know we're a good month out, but let's do it for enjoyment value.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm very unsure about this fight. Looking back to Tyson Fury's last fight against Ngannou, and I wasn't that impressed with Usyk when he fought Dubois either. So I think it will be maybe quite boring fight, to be honest. Could be some like Tyson Fury Klitschko 2015, that Tyson Fury maybe gonna dominate and win, but I don't think it will be entertaining. That's my prediction. So I think Tyson Fury wins.
Bit of a chess match, Orkan. Bit of a chess match.
Yes.
Interesting. Harrison, I'll come to you next.
Well, I can try sell it a little bit more, but you are really spot on. I suppose it is going to be very slow burner. They're not going to both run at each other, are they? 20 seconds into the first round and go straight for each other. I'm really interested in how Tyson Fury's physique has changed so dramatically in the space of 6 months since that Ngannou loss. Like you noted there, I watched the press conference earlier today. Useless press conference, but I've really enjoyed.
3 hours to get there, Harrison. I know.
Just to end up in Morecambe as well.
3 hours there, 3 hours back. Lovely part of the world, right?
God, was it raining and all?
Yeah.
Of course it was.
Living the dream.
On terms of the fight, I thought that Fury would win before the Ngannou fight. I thought he'd win after it, and I still think he'll win now. Not to discredit Alexander Usyk at all. Obviously, he's got a live wire chance. I just think that in the whole Styles Makes Fights campaign of things, I just think that Alexander Usyk's built for Tyson Fury. He's so small. He's going to be easy to clinch. He's going to be easy to just bully around the ring. We know what Fury's tactics are, where he likes to, get up close, wrestle people, put himself onto fighters, and I just don't think Usyk's going to be able to deal with that, and I don't think he's quick enough to be able to walk around the ring. So if Fury gets to fight his fight, which I think he will, then he should be able to win this pretty easily.
Let me play devil's advocate with you, Harrison. What about these people who are saying, what about the Steve Cunningham fight where Cunningham put him on his backside and blah, blah, blah? Personally, I think he's a different boxer now with Sugar Hill.
He's a different boxer since Klitschko, never mind Steve Cunningham. Like, it's just looking too far into the past, I think, there. Every fighter at one stage or another is being exposed. Even with Anthony Joshua, he's not the same fighter now as when he fought Andy Ruiz the first time round. Fighters and their styles change dramatically, and Fury's become a lot more defensive and cautious in recent years, but he's also a lot more physical too, I think. I've noticed his punching's been significantly higher in the last couple of years. So if you put a line through that Ngannou fight, I think that works in his favor. Hakan got it spot on there. I thought that Usyk looked really light against Dubois, or that he just didn't expect Daniel Dubois to be at that level, because I think he surprised quite a few of us that night. And,
yeah, he did, yeah.
Whatever about the low high, that's been debated for a million years now, but there's a lot I think that Usyk has to work on. I don't think there's much Fury needs to do. I think he needs to fight his own fight, and he should be good here.
Sean, is it a case of a good big and beats a good little?
Yeah, it may well be, but I agree. I think it will be a bit of a double fight. But I think Fury struggles against smaller guys from what we've seen in his career so far. I'm not saying Usyk's going to win, but I think he'll give Fury all sorts of problems in the fight. I don't think he's going to be there to be hit very much. I think he'll use his amateur style in that degree. But I think Fury's going to scrape a points win, but I think it's just going to be almost like what Klitschko's done a few years ago, grab hold, and it's just going to be a boring fight. I think the fight that we're all waiting for is Fury-Joshua, isn't it, afterwards?
Yeah, I think that happens, don't it? I think that happens. And the last one, just for a bit of fun for me, just to finish the show off. I know we've not had the announcements yet of the Matchroom versus Queensbury 5 versus 5, but looking at both promoters, stables as they are as we speak now, who wins? So, Sean, I'll come to you first. Gut feeling, who do you have winning?
I think Matchroom wins.
Okay. Orkan, who do you think wins?
I think Matchroom wins 3-2.
3-2.
Yes.
Harrison, are you going to book the trend or?
No, I think Matchroom wins as well. But I think it'll be 3-2, and there's a couple of fights that could go either way. Even, I think, of the ones that we've had rumored, I think the one that's most interesting for me is Amma Williams against Hamza Shiraz. That's a coin flip. That could go either way, I think. So there's a couple that are really exciting and really close. And I like that they were allowed to pick their own divisions as well, because obviously that's them putting their favorite fights forward. The thing is, are we counting this Wilder? Who's Wilder fighting again? The Turkey Al Sheikh fight, Deontay Wilder's fighting. Is it
Zhang?
Zhang, yeah. Does that? So is Deontay Wilder part of Matchroom then on that?
No, currently is that.
But so if that counts as one of the part of the 5v5, that could go either way as well. So there's a couple of nice ones there. Raymond Ford, Nick Ball is going to be fight of the century. Oh, yeah. That's such a good fight. And again, that could go either way as well. So
I think Ford beats him.
I think Ball knocks him out.
I'll go Ford.
There's a couple close fights in there, though, and I'm really looking forward to that, Bill. I think as boxing fans, we've been deprived of that for far too long.
Yeah. I just think Nick Ball launched himself forward because of his reach challenges, and I think Ford will catch him, Harrison. I think he'll catch him on the way in.
Who do you think wins the Dubois-Hrgovic fight, if that happens?
That's I want Dubois to win, because it looks like Anthony Joshua's going to fight the winner in September at Wembley, right? That's the worst kept secret in boxing.
Yeah.
Now, Dubois is a lot more attractive to me as a fight fan to watch Dubois versus Joshua than it is to watch Hrgovic. Just keep Joshua at end of a jab all night, which I think he'll try and do. So I hope Dubois. I think Dubois is coming on leaps and bounds. I think he's getting better and better as he matures. He could well beat Ergovic. Because let's have it right, Ergovic wasn't great against Zhang, was it? A lot of people think he lost that fight.
He was flat, yeah.
So, and then last one, who would you have as captain? Orkan, who would you have as captain? These questions just flying in my head. Are you impressed by the journalism, Harrison?
Captain of 5 Matchroom Queensberry.
Yeah. Captain gets 2 points for a win, right? So it's important. It's an important choice.
Okay. I haven't thought about all the fights in a couple of weeks now, the rumored fights. So, but
just for a bit of fun, Orkan, don't stress yourself. Just for a bit of...
I will go with I say Wilder.
Wilder. Okay, I'm assuming that's Matchroom. So
yes.
who would you go Queensborough?
Hamza Shiraz.
Who?
Hamza Shiraz.
Oh, Shiraz. Very young to be a captain. Now, Orkan, the other two had the bonus of having time to think about the question. So thank you for taking that first off the cuff. I'll come to Sean next. It's very early in the morning. So, Sean, who would you have as captains?
I think for Matchroom, I'll go Amo Williams and Queensbury Nick Ball.
Right, okay. That's a Nick Ball's a interesting decision because I don't think he wins. Interesting. And Harrison, who would you have?
Well, I had a good think about it, and I actually agree with Orkan's 2 picks. I think my Matchroom pick would be Deontay Wilder. I just think that he's due like that massive. I want to just see that left hand just one more time, just put someone to sleep. I'm desperate to see it as a boxing fan, so I'd make him my Matchroom captain, which is a strange thing to say after all these years. And I'd go Hamza Shiraz on the Queensbury side of things. He's been top class. He's really bossed that middleweight division domestically for a long time. So I think Amo Williams is really good, but I think Shiraz will just have a little bit too much for him.
I think he's that reach into Harrison. He's got that reach, which is a problem at that weight division, right? He's got such a long levers.
Yeah. Well, it's a massive help to him as well. I think he'll eventually end up moving up to 68.
I mean, it's an issue for his opponents. It's a massive challenge for his opponents, isn't it, to get around it. Okay, guys, I'm going to bring the show to an end, okay? So much appreciated. Orkan, thank you for your participation.
Thank you.
Harrison, enjoy the national fella. I'm going to back that horse you recommended. Please gamble responsibly. That's not me endorsing.
Can't stress it enough.
Sean, thank you for joining from Australia, fella. I know it's very early in the morning there. You're much appreciated. Thank you.
No worries, thanks, mate.
Sidebar. This has been Last Ball Boxing, proudly sponsored by LW Lifting Limited and SC Travel. We'll see you next Thursday, not Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Take care, everybody.